Hello, good morning, happy Monday, and welcome back to Diesel Time. So we are done with creating the demo for the AI agent meetup, and I'll be giving that talk in 2 weeks. It's on the first Thursday of December. It's December 5th, I think. Zilby is meowing really loudly. Hold on, I'm gonna go take a look at what he needs. What's that? All right, I don't know what Zilby wants, but probably not to hang out here. Where do you want to go? Okay, well, he's gonna maybe hang out down here. Who knows? So, anyways, I'm gonna be giving that AI talk in the 5th of December, which is the first Thursday, I believe. So in 2 weeks. So not this week, but the next week on Thursday. That's a nighttime one, and I don't believe they're streaming it or recording it. So anytime after that, I could potentially give the talk. I don't know. The last sort of stream we did was sort of going a deep dive into the demo itself, like on the technical side. So I'm not exactly sure how much more it'd be helpful to like record that for here. I don't really know if there's any benefit to that. But if any of you want it, let me know and I'll add it to the list. Maybe after that's done, I'll record something and we'll throw it up. Okay, so besides that, I don't necessarily have any news. So I have to remember where we were with the diesel course. So I think it was like a diesel. Okay, yeah. So we had the diesel bookstore assessment, and the diesel rust course, I think, is where we're really paying attention here. So, right, because we have these lessons and we're working on writing the lessons. So we've gotten through a bunch of these. For our to do, create the solution branch. Did I not already create? Oh, right. We created the solution. I haven't created the solution branch yet, specifically. Yeah, I was going to wait until the very end to do that. Okay, so there we go with that. That's good. Setting up a project for the course. I'm trying to remember what exactly I meant with this. Oh, I think this is for, because like with read all and everything else, it's like, okay, we want to set up something for like us to work on, right? And I'm wondering if that's going to require us to rewrite some of the rest of the stuff. So if I look at migrations, let's say. Okay, yeah. So this is creating a name, a species. Right, this is like the pet store thing. And then I updated it to add in like fed at or something. Yeah, last fed. Okay. So setting up a project for a course now with read all. It says I've written it. Oh, get all. Another bin command, we've already connected to the database, but we can't. Okay, so we do all that stuff. That's great. Or was it as simple as connecting Diesel to Postgres? Oh, I think in here we just say we don't have anything. So perhaps the first part here, install the Diesel CLI, and then before the database URL environment variable, what if we just add in right here, set up a new project? Asitsu, hello, how are you doing today? Okay, so set up a new project. We want to, I just want to create a, I mean, it's basically just cargo new, right? So run. Should we be able to see something? Yes, you should be able to see something. That's a good point. Interesting. Hold on, let me try this. No, that didn't reset it. It was working right before stream. I even tested it and it decided to freeze. Sort of like the camera freezing thing, which I'm not exactly sure when that like why that happens. Let's see, it's you. Huh, I deactivated and reactivated it and that didn't work. Okay, wait. What? Deactivate? Activate? That was a very delayed response for OBS. Oh, this is going to be fun. Well, let me try unplugging. And replugging back in. Okay, so I can see it again. Uh-oh. Okay, let me try unplugging your power. Well, this will be a short stream. I guess it will be a set up the Windows computer for coding. Okay, let's try this again. It's back on my monitor. There we go. Okay. Well, that's fun. I have no idea. I guess I haven't unplugged the and like truly reset this Elgato for a long time. Although I do shut down the Windows computer quite often, so I don't know. That should set it up, but who knows? Much better. Yeah, I mean you can see anything at all. That's that's a benefit, right? Okay, so what we're doing is we're adding in a new section to the connecting Diesel to Postgres where it's like set up the new project, because I don't think I did that anywhere where it's like, oh, no, you just set this up and somebody's like, well, in my root directory. So so next we need to create a new project. For this course, we're going to work on a what would this be called? What would we want to call this? Like the pet store? So on a fictional pet store where we're creating a database and I mean not really the full API. So database and library that allows developers to CRUD So work with store. I mean, I could just say CRUD, which is create, read, update, and delete pets in the database. And what did I call this? Okay, so I didn't put this in here. Where did I put our code? So there's the bookstore assessment. Oh, and then just Diesel Rust course. Did I not create an actual like example code for this? Diesel Rust. Oh, the star before it didn't count. I thought star would be 0 or nothing, but I think in it's not. Oh, this is okay, hold on. That's what I well, no, because the Diesel Rust course is just this. Huh. I mean, there's course articles. That's not what I have that in. Diesel Bookstore assessment is the assessment itself. Diesel Rust course. I don't have any like course diesel. I don't think it'd be under lessons. Yeah. Not under lessons. Okay, well, I think we're creating a new one then for this. Okay, so this can be open source. So let's create it in like what should we name this? Diesel course code. I think diesel course code is going to be fine. So let's do a cargo new lib diesel course code. Okay, so in this case, I do think that maybe creating this in its own file might be better. And I think that's simply because I'll also be able to say like, hey, where to go find this. So if we do diesel course code, okay, so It's not necessarily objectives for this one. It's going to be a little bit simpler. Okay, so this course is designed for you to follow along and write your own code. Okay, so this course is designed for you to follow along and write your own code. There is, we have a code repo. So we have maybe just GitHub. GitHub repo. And then I'm going to have to put these into there later, so I have that right now. We have a GitHub repo with the code, sort of like with the code generated for the course or whatever. That you can use as it's not really a guide, as sort of like a solution implemented. Okay, so we have a GitHub repo that you can use as a something. I don't know what the right word to use is for this. I don't think it's guide. Let's just change this around. So we have a GitHub repo. So are you recreating the code? Yeah, I'm gonna have to recreate the code because I don't know where I put it. I don't know where it went. I know that I might have been putting this stuff into like a playgrounds type thing, but that's not a good idea. Like that's not where everything should go. Unless I like put it. So if I find anything diesel. So I have the diesel playground, but I don't think that counts. The diesel bookstore assessment doesn't count. And then the diesel rest course doesn't have it in here either. Yeah, so if I go into code, ooh, why would I put it in here? Oh, this is where I put it. Okay. This feels like a mistake for me. Like it should go under Brooks builds because that's where I put all this. That's how I usually organize this. I must have been one directory up, and then because I'm in Zellage, I just kept the same session up the entire time, so I never had to CD into it to find it. Well, that explains that. Okay, so let's fix this. Let's remove. So diesel course code is the new one that we just created, right? So I want to remove you. I want to move diesel course to here. Okay. So now we have you. Okay. So this course is designed for you to follow along and write your own code. We have a GitHub repo. Let's actually do we have a diesel course GitHub repo. That contains all of the code that the lessons go over, so that you can It contains all the code the lessons go over so that you can verify, so that you can check your work. Or if you get lost, start from there. Like have a new base to start from. You run into any trouble, please join the Discord channel. And then it will have to be like blah blah blah. I think it's gonna be something like Diesel course. And we'll do our best to help you out. Get going again. It is recommended that you create a blank project. Okay, so it's recommended that you create a blank project, but to follow along, cargo, so but it's also perfectly fine to start with the above linked course code and all that matters is that you are able to learn and grow your skills. Okay, there we go. Parth, hello. How are you doing today? Yes, I did get your text. I saw that, and I will be responding probably later today after the stream. So thank you for that. And yeah. Okay, so all that matters is that you're able to learn and grow your skills. Okay, so we've got that. I think we're good to go. And now we can do this as these are the lessons. And this would be the actual code. Let's move this at NU because and I know this is behind us, but all I'm doing is just doing a get stuff. I add diesel course code. I want. Okay, what is this? What did we do? We added lesson for diesel course code. Okay. Okay, so then mark that as done. All right. Diesel CRUD operations, printing the SQL for debugging. Okay, and we did read all in the last one. So right, I'm doing this all in the bin stuff too. But I think I actually mentioned how to do that, so we're good to go. So in show, let's do like a special debug itself. Maybe we'll just do update show pets. Because all this is going to do is actually, yeah, so for pets, get all pets and do that stuff. Ooh, how do I want to do this? I don't have a name, so let's write, no, new, write, print, SQL, print diesel, statements for debugging. Okay, so let's do debug diesel with by printing the generated SQL. Okay, objectives. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to, I guess, like print out the generated. So print out the SQL that Diesel creates. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple. So jump into our content. Okay, so ooh, I kind of wonder also, would it be better if I just did a line break? So like that. All right, so what do we want here? We want debugging Diesel. So a problem that is common with all ORMs, regardless of language, is that it can become a bit difficult to debug. For example, if we are trying to do a get, like a select statement, a select query, but for some reason we're getting an error, we have to figure out if the, like, where that error is. One sort of like low effort way to what's the, maybe not like one low effort way. Maybe we just start a new paragraph and we just say one potential, okay, so one potential solution thing, blah, 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 something. One potential technique is to cut, is to eliminate entire sections of the project where the error isn't. Let's see. Cernikif. Oh, hey, you're with understand.tech. Okay, cool. So, Cernikif, I talked to one of the salespeople from I didn't realize that you were at that company. That's awesome. Yeah, I have an account on understand.tech. Let me open this up. It's a pretty cool thing when it works. I ran into a problem where I was trying to add in some repo, and my account wasn't able, like it had run out of space, so I couldn't add any more. Let me see if I can open up Twitch, go back to the dashboard, get that link. I want to, yeah, here's the diesel repo with Git. Yeah, it's pretty, so to let everybody know, Cernikif is working on, is part of a small team that's building it is a sort of like it's a chat bot. So correct me if I'm wrong with this. It's a chat bot that allows you to query and chat with or about any repo that you want to. And I think that you're also going to be adding in pretty soon the ability to chat with like all Google documents or Microsoft, what it is they're called? Like, is it OneDrive documents? It's like something like that where you can add, they add those in, they use RAG to allow you to sort of like figure out which document to load up into memory, and then you can sort of like use any of the big models to chat with it. Yeah, it's an AA platform to make your own model, and soon OneDrive, yes, and SQL, etc. Nice. So if I open you up into a little arc here, we got this. So basically, oh, that's interesting. When I make this bigger, it's keeping room for all that stuff on the left. That's interesting. So ask me any questions about. So this is like the diesel repo. So we should be able to then say, I know you asked me for this, and I think like immediately we switched to the AI project for like 2 weeks. You couldn't show that off. So sorry about that. Oh, in 2 weeks, API and new interface. Nice. All right, so ask you any questions about Diesel RS, and if I remember correctly, you use any of the big LMs, right? So Mistral's by default. So is that this one? And you get the creator of it gets to set that. So like if I created it, I could set I wanted to use ChatGPT or something like that. I don't know if this is a problem or not. But yeah, I could say something like, how do I print the generated SQL from generated SQL by Diesel? We'll try that. Okay, you're now using OpenAI Preview plus Olama plus Custom. Nice. Based on a provided context, there is no specific information regarding to how to print the generated SQL using Diesel. The context focuses on migration commands, database setup, and schema generation with Diesel CLI. If you require, okay, so there is, I think in their guides, I wonder if they put their stuff in a different repo for their guides. Is it in getting started? Maybe. The other thing is that it's quite possible that they put their documentation in a different repo than the actual code. Right. Turning, do all that stuff, show post. I don't actually know if this one, yeah, okay, so this one I don't think actually shows it. Maybe it's just the API docs. And I want, there is they have like a, I just debug. Debug query. Takes a query fragment expression and returns a type that implements display and debug to show the query. Okay. The display implementation will, okay, yes, this is what we want. Debug query. You created the model a long time ago, so maybe it was a previous version. I think this has been around for a long time, but SQL, how, okay. Users find is your query and hands it the query. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know where this, well, wait, so this documentation is automatically generated from Diesel. So like you could find where this documentation is created. Isn't there something up here that allows me to see like where things come from? Did they change? No? Huh. I feel like the official docs used to have something. Wait, this is the book, isn't it? This is the book. I keep on forgetting. It looks so much like the normal docs that I'm like, oh, this is the normal stuff. Yeah, so this is actually the book. I keep on, this is the exact same thing. Last time I did the exact same problem where it's like, okay, it's docs.diesel.rs instead. Oh, fun. Okay, so if we go to crates, Diesel documentation. So this breaks my brain because this is what I was expecting to see up there when we're on docs.rs/diesel as opposed to docs.diesel.rs. So that's fun. They even have these things here. Yeah, same thing, just hosted. Oh, really? Is that it? It's just hosted differently? Oh, that's too bad. So under here, we can go and you can find the repository that this is based on. So Diesel. Now, the problem comes in because these are all automatically generated from the docs, which don't get like any hosted page that your LM could get access to. So I think that all these markdown files are generated automatically outside of the repo. So that will make any generated thing. Now you could, if you wanted to focus on Rust type things, run the Rust book command, which would then generate these. Is the Rust book command? Run the docs command. Run the docs command, which would generate everything, and then you can load those up. So that would work. But that might be a little bit too much because there's like every language has their own different ways of doing documentation, which is not great, but also understandable. So they have, I wanted to say that they have they have something in here. Maybe they don't. But we can just do debug. So there's a trait, a struct that implements display, debug query. And so you just run debug query and you hand it the query, I believe, right? So debug query, hand it what the database you're using is. Don't worry about the type, and then hand it the query, which they're not showing up here, which is fun. So they do it again down here to show you more, which I don't know why they include this one. So debug query, debug, and then query is that. Users find, okay. Nice. So this is all we want to do. Okay, so back to you. One potential technique is to eliminate entire sections of the project where the error isn't. For example, if the query that is running on the database is correct. However, we're working with Rust code. With Rust code and not SQL directly, which means we need to see what the generated SQL looks like. We can do this. Wow, I like just skipped the H on that. We can do this with the what is it, debug query? The debug query function. So the debug, and actually I could probably do this. Debug query function. Okay. Let's add a debug, a print. So a print line. Or let's print out. So let's print out the query in the get all pets, or in the show all pets, in the show. What am I even calling this? In the show pets. The show pets binary. Okay, so we just do that query, right? It's like get all pets, connect to DB, get all pets like that. And then I just want to print line all pets query. And then this is debug query all pets, and like that. Vec pet is no valid SQL fragment for, right, I need to give it the DB, right? I have to give you the DB and I have to give you underscore. Attempt to use a non-constant value. Is it just Postgres or PG? Is it a PG connection? Okay, it doesn't like that. Query fragments DB, yeah. So I get that, but which one do you want? So debug that to that, that's great. Okay. Are you having oh. So I have to do debug mode. But that doesn't feel like the right error for that. But I could add you in here. But yeah, this is an error for something else. This is basically saying, okay, so vec pet is no valid SQL fragment for the PG. wait a second. So I do a users find query. Oh, is it because I'm not? Oh, toString also. Yeah, I'm seeing, okay, so toString. So it's not aware of a toString. The method toString exists for struct debug query, but as trait bounds are not satisfied, the following trait bounds were not satisfied. Debug query underscore vec pet pg format display. What types do you want? Wait, is this? Yeah, all pets is real. I wonder if I need to not. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, hold on. I'm doing this in the wrong place. We need to do this in the actual query. So in the get. Wait, where did we put this? Oh, in the queries. No. Pets queries. Hold on. So we have source queries, source queries mod pets queries. This is where it is. Okay. So I probably want to let a query equals to you. I don't want to run the query yet, right? So I want to keep you as the query. Now at the very end, we're still going to return query like that. But in the middle here, we're going to do a debug, so print line debug query for PG query. It'd also be helpful if I used print line correctly, but who cares about using things correctly, right? So this is the get all pets query. Oh, just like that. Yes, that works. I had those from earlier, I guess. Okay, so if I run this now, I did start up the database, so we should be good to go. Let's see, I want to do a cargo run bin show pets, I think. There we go. There we can see this. You know, it's not sort of like colored in a way that makes any sense, but it actually lets us see the queries. That's great. So get all pets query. This is sort of behind us. Let's full screen this. Get all pets query, select pets.id, pets.name, pets.species.id. So they're really like putting everything in there, even though I think I'm doing like select all. Pets.lastfed from pets with no binds. So if I take this and let's just go down here and we'll do a Docker exec into our Diesel REST course. I think we're just on default for this. So if what is it? Yeah, we have all of you. So if I just put in this query, that gives us everything. So that's how we do it. Okay, so one potential technique is to eliminate entire sections of the project where the error isn't. For example, if the query that is running on the database is correct, if the query that is running on the database is correct. However, we're working with REST code and not SQL directly, which means we need to see what the generated SQL looks like. We can do this with the debug query function. Let's print out the query that is being called by the show pets binary. We can't put the debug query into the, okay, so we can't put the debug query into the, what is it called? Function into the binary itself, since we only get the vector of pets at that time. So we need to put our debug statement into the pets queries file. Okay, into the pets queries file. KTech Block, hello. Could I help you? Maybe. I don't know. Possibly. What's the problem you're running into? I can't promise anything though. Please tell me what you're working on, because you're a 12-year-old coder in Python. Luckily, you're on YouTube and not Twitch. Otherwise, that would be bad for your account. Yeah. So the language that we're working on is in Rust, which is a different language than Python. It's a compiled language. Python is more of like a scripting language, meaning it just sort of runs and you just have the file and it just runs. So this one you have to do an extra step beforehand and compile it down. And then the course that we're creating here is for like connecting to a database and doing all the fun stuff with it. So creating things in the database, getting things from the database, and manipulating, deleting, all the cool stuff that you would want to do inside of a database. So that's what this is here. And then I'm switching back and forth between the articles that I'm working on and example code that we have. And so the current lesson that we're working on right now is debugging, like giving like a print line to the queries that we're creating. So for example, this query right here that we create, where I just do like pets select everything, that results in, well, it results in this, which then you can take, copy, and put it into a database directly and then see that. All right, awesome. Glad to help out. Okay, so get all pets query, we do that. So we can't put the debug query into the binary itself since we only get the vector of pets at that time. So we need to put our debug statement into the pets queries file. Another consideration is that we can only run the debug query function. Okay, so another consideration is we can only run the debug query function on, what is it called? On a query. in this file, we used the load method. Just did page down. That's not helpful. Use the load method to execute the query and get the results back. After that, it's too late to debug the query itself, since it has been consumed. So we'll need to break the query out into its own variable, debug or print debug it, then load the query and return the results. Okay, so go over that. Okay, so there we go. Get all pets. When we run the show pets binary, we should get the okay, so we should get the, what is it called? Yeah, we should get the print statement as well as the, what do I want to call this? Print statement as well as the list of all pets. Okay, so now we're going to do that, which we have done that. That's right here. I did a bunch of compile stuff, so let's go ahead and just do that again without all the compile stuff. There you go for you. Okay, so cargo run, show pets, finished, dev profile running, get all pets, query, we get that, and we get you. Okay. Ooh, this added a new line. Let's just do that. That makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so it's generated a pretty standard SQL query. The only things of note are that Diesel is selecting every field manually, which isn't that surprising based on how isn't that surprising? I don't actually know if I need to put in. So the only thing of note is that binds, right? And I don't actually think I've ever worked with binds. Hold on. Go take a look at binds. Postgres binds. What is it? What do you do? LDAP configuration. No, that's not what I want. Okay, I want select binds. I'm hoping to find something that's not. Okay, maybe something in select here. So can I search for bind? Oh, there's 3 here. What did this look like? This looks like a dash binds. Just a comment, right? Oh, wait, you're right. Dash is a comment. Why does it put a comment in there? That's interesting. Huh. I don't think that the documentation for Diesel showed us why it used. Oh, okay. So it has a binds here. Your binds of one. Oh, I see. It doesn't inject the actual thing in, does it? It doesn't inject what this is. Okay. I now feel that I might want to do this after we use something with a variable in it. Because then we'll have this binds in here and I can explain that so much better than if I say, oh yeah, it's something else. Because this is binds once, this is one goes into here with the first one. And if there's 2 of these, then it'll be, this is an array. So we get 2 things in here. So like if user ID equals 1 and something else, whatever. Or if it's like an insert user name and whatever, then it's like 2 or 3 things in here. Okay, got it. Yeah, I don't know. My brain saw the dash and did not think comment whatsoever. I don't know why. Like, I know that dashes are comments, but all right. So I want to come back to the README. Let's do this after the read one. So we're going to do read one first. So let's immediately begin working on that. This is Diesel get 1. Okay, so get 1 row. So get row from database with Diesel. Okay, objectives. Okay, so by the end of this lesson, you will be able to create a query to get one item from the database with Diesel. I mean, that's pretty much what it is, right? All right, so let's see. Previously, we were able to get all of the pets to pets from the database and display them to the screen. But it can be useful to also get just one item from the database. Most often, we'll be getting one item using the ID of the item. For example, if a user logs in or something like that, I guess like for this case, like in the context of the pet store, we might sort of like a visitor, sort of like maybe a purchaser or somebody. So like someone might click on a link to a list of pet names, and they want all of the information about that one pet. And just that one pet. They would have the ID at that point. So all we need to do is create a query that can retrieve one pet via this ID. Let's create a new query. Am I doing this as a new query file? It's pets queries. Okay, so there's a new query in the pets queries file to get one pet by ID. Okay, so then over here, we do pub function get by ID is usually what I call this. We'll have our DB, and we'll have the ID. And if I remember correctly, the ID is an I32, because that's what Diesel by default makes those. We'll have our result. And our result is going to return an option and a pet inside of that. Okay, so use create schema pets BSL. Huh, you got lost there. Interesting. Are you lost because I'm not returning that? To do. There we go. Okay, so we use that. We get our query. So if I just want one thing, I should be able to do this all in one go, right? So we have our query. Don't have the query. We just do pets. So it's you. So pets select. Oh, isn't there like a pets find? Excuse me, is this hello world in Rust function main? Let's see. Function main, print line, hello world. Yes, that does indeed look like a hello world. And if you run that with a cargo run in your project, it should work. It should compile it and then run it all at once. Yeah, so yeah. Okay, so pets. Okay, so there's two ways of doing this. We could do pet select, but I think we're gonna do. Okay, so we're in update. We're definitely gonna do a where. So in read one, we're probably gonna use find. So do you have a find here, or do I do pet? I hate that I get so little help with this. I think it's pets. I mean, it's either that or it's that. It's one of those two. So pets find ID. And isn't there like an optional? Oh, that's under load, right? Like I can load, it's optional load or something like that. Okay, so pets find here. If I get rid of the to do, and then there's like a maybe load or load, or I get result. Okay, yeah. So you're yelling at me saying no method name find for struct pets table in a current scope. Items for traits can only be used if the trait is in scope. Okay. Is it pet? There is a pets find. Maybe there's a find here? No. Whoa, don't do that. Pet is not an iterator. Well, oh, it thinks that it's the other type of find. Okay, so now I need to go. Here he's just using users.find. And this is us. I assume this is coming from the DSL, right? Huh. Pets find ID. And then you are, unless this is not that pets. Hold on, let me try. Ooh, it could be one of the, could be that. I mean, can I do table? Ooh, this might be it. Pets table. Nothing there. Oh, input. Import dear. Okay, then get one. Maybe get one. Load. Come on. S-equal, borrow, mute, ref. Wait, does find also just load it? Let's see, what do you return? Okay, find IDs, that's table. Okay, so we go off the table. Oh, I just do first. Yeah, okay. First also is the equivalent of load. So I do first like that. I think I have to hand it that, and then I do a context. So this is getting pet by ID. Not satisfied. What do you need? Yeah, first in connection. That should be fine, right? Unless I need, oh, for options pet. It's there must be a different. It wouldn't be try first. It's maybe first. Import query DSL. Do I have it now? Yeah, okay. So here's query DSL. Well, I just deleted it. Query DSL. What? Oh. Yeah. Oops. Okay. Import you. Import you. Okay, so pets expected function found. Select statement from clause. Oh, that was before you just you worked out fine. I just used the entire prelude. I mean, it's probably a good idea. Oh yeah, I remember we ran into that a lot before, didn't we? Where we said like, hey, if there's a problem, then just do diesel, use diesel prelude star. I think I actually have that in the lessons of like, just do that. Except you're not happy. Let's see, find. First debug. Okay, now you're saying single value is not satisfied. Required option pet to implement queryable. So first always finds it, right? Which means I need a maybe not, like maybe or something. Because like, what if it doesn't find it? Was there like a nullable or optional or I don't think they have like a, it's maybe. Yeah, because okay, so first does that. There was another one that besides first. Okay, so let's go look up find. Sure, query DSL find. So okay, this is the one that we're looking at right here. And I want. Ooh, you know what? It's probably not here that we care about. It's probably like if I look up first. Nulls first? It's a type alias. Okay, so for you, first, gives you a query result U instead of a query result option U. You can call dot optional on the result of this to get a result option U. That's what it was. Optional. So then after the first, we do optional to get that. There we go. This now gets us the get by ID. Okay, so, all right. How do I want to do this? Let's create a new query in the pets queries file to get one pet by ID. And then let's do RS. We'll do the signature first here. Okay, so we have that, and then I'll just remove you, and we'll put in a to do like that. Notice that we're adding in an option pet instead of just returning the pet. That's because it's possible that the provided ID doesn't match anything in the database. We don't want to throw an error if we can't find a pet by the given ID, since that is a normal, like that's just normal behavior. The option helps us. Is it really like, I want to say communicate, but I don't think it's that exact way. So like helps us ensure that all possible return sort of like scenarios are covered. Okay, so we get that. The query itself, so the query itself is slightly different than the get all. Okay, so where do we start? We start from pets. Now pets we get from the schema. So instead of from the table, we just go pets from the schema. So I did not want to do that. I wanted to go over here. Okay, so the query itself is slightly different than the get all because we start from the pets table. So the pet table, or I guess like from the pet schema. Pet schema instead of the pets in the DSL. DSL. Okay. Let's see. That's good. Everything's there is happy. We're happy there. What else do I want to put in here? So start from here. So it's really create schema pets. So pets table find, I guess, okay, so table has a find method first. So then I think I just throw you all in here now. So we throw you in here. Uh-oh. That's not cool. No. Bad bot. And instead of a ban, I accidentally clicked out of the window. That's cool. And we get banned. I don't know if that moves away from the chat up above, but banned from Twitch. Okay. Let's get back to here. You all can go one more down, can you? All right, so pets table find first optional context. Okay, so we get all that stuff. We're good to go. All right, so then let's do this right here. So RS at the very top will include not that. I wanted to yank, not delete. There we go. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so use crates, models, pets. So I don't, that's actually just, do that there. Actually, you know what? I kind of like the idea of keeping this in here because it just shows how everything goes together. So the query itself is slightly different than the get all because we start from the pet schema instead of the pets in the DSL. So we need to add this to the use statement at the top of the file or the module. Then we can write our query. We begin with the pets table, or I guess the pets module. Ooh, so like I could also do something like this table, but I don't like that. Okay. So we start from the pet schema instead of the pets in the DSL. So we can add this to use statement at the top of the module. Okay. Let's create schema pets. So we can write a query and we begin with the pets module to get the table, and then run the find method on it. This method is a special method that takes in an ID and returns that takes in the ID. And is it ID or primary key? Find, not first. Find. So it's not under DSL. I think it's under query DSL. Okay, so it just takes in the primary key. So this method is a special method. It takes in an ID and returns. Okay, so it takes in a value, a primary key. So like the value of, takes in the value of a primary key. In this case, just the an ID. This case, an ID like 1, 2, 3, etc. And return and we'll search for all rows that match that. Since primary keys have to be unique, this is guarantee. Spelling. I imagine that I misspelled that, but we're gonna run a spell check over everything later. So we'll do that. We'll do that when it comes time to do that. Since primary keys have to be unique, this is guaranteed. This is guaranteed to be 1 or none. 1 or 0. 1 or 0 items in the database. Normally, when we run a load function, we get a vector of results back. However, since we know we can only get 1 at most back, we can run the first method. Okay, so we can run the first method. Of course, this tries to return the type and can't handle a null from the database unless we add the... Is it optional? Yeah, optional. It's optional. Also, that was a URL bar. Optional. This one? Yeah, this one. Converts a query result. Okay, that's what I want. Okay, so unless we add the optional method to the chain, then we Come on, capitalize. Then we handle the error with a context and return the final result. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so that's it. Let's create a new binary command to get a pet by ID. To get a pet by ID. Or hold on, before this. So this is what the pets, was it pet queries? The pet queries now looks like. Looks like. That's not how you end sentences in English. RS, okay, we do that. We have all view. Okay, so schema pets, we do all view. So there. Let's create a new binary command to get a pet by ID. We're creating this in, so let's see, I think kind of above you, but you can sort of see it. So if we have in our source, we have bin, so L bin, that's makedir, no, touch. And I want this to be source bin get pet by ID, .rs. Okay, so start with you. All right. Get pet by ID, do that. And we'll set up, I guess, in the we'll have to, okay, so set up a new main function and get the and request an ID from the user using the there's a standard in out, and I forget what it's called. Not you, I want you. It's isn't like standard. There's the standard in that creates a standard in, and then you can, oh yeah, then you just read line. That's what it is. Okay, so okay, so set up a new main function, request an ID from the user using the standard in read line method. Okay, so we are function main. We want to let the string that we want to get, this is going to be the ID. So this is going to be, we're going to start with the stringified ID. So call this like user input ID. So input ID is a string new make that mutable. I want a standard in. Isn't there like a function standard in? Yes, standard. Okay, so standard in read line mute input ID. And then, okay, so this is if we have run into an error. So I want to match you. So we have an okay, so I want. Actually, I don't need an okay. I don't need this to be a match. This is going to be a if let error equals to you. Okay, so if we have an error, I want to eprint line. There was an error reading the ID. And then I do need to print line. So we want to print line and just say what pet would you like to get to see? Enter the pet's ID. So we do that. We then get you. Okay, so now I need to convert. Okay, there's error the ID, and then I can actually put the error here. So error, debug mode that, and then we should be good to go. Set up a new main function, request an ID from the user using standard and readline method. Okay, so we have rs. Boom. All right. Okay, so we need to handle the. Actually, don't need to say if we need to do anything like that. It's just like, okay, that's what we're doing, right? We're doing this. So next up is we want to convert. Okay, so next, okay, so the input ID is a string at this point, but IDs in our database are I32s. So we need to convert this ID into an I32 before we can call our file, before we can call our something. Before we can call our query. I know how to write and type and communicate and do all that kind of stuff. Today does feel like a Monday to my brain, I guess. I don't know. Usually I'm pretty good, but maybe got too much or too little sleep. I'm not sure. I haven't had any caffeine today, so maybe that's it too. All right, so okay, so we have an error. Okay, so now we convert. So we want our let ID. This is gonna be our pet ID, and you're gonna be an I32. Is gonna be equal. And actually, I don't have to do this here. I can do it as a turbofish syntax. So we're gonna have an input ID. So input ID. We're gonna parse you. Come on. Parse you into an I32. And of course, this gives us a result. And so I need a let. So if I want both, so in this case, let's input u equals, now we'll match you. So match you will have an okay, we have the ID, and I just want to return the ID. But if it's an error, I want to get the error here. And we're going to do a multi-line here. Oh, and I completely forgot. At this point in time, we should return early and stop running. So we're going to do the same thing here. And before I forget, I need to remember to stop leaving myself in insert mode. Because then when I try to work around, it just looks terrible. Let's return to you. Okay, not in insert mode. Okay, did I just go, went 3 over. Okay, so here we're going to ePrint line. So ePrint line, I want to just say error, you need or IDs, so pet IDs must be a number. And then we're just going to return. And then I don't actually care about this error because if it couldn't turn it into an I32, it wasn't a valid number. That's all. Okay, so now we have our pet ID. Now, is that all I did? Okay, yeah, so let's grab that. Oh, I'm still in this mode. I need to press, okay. Put you there, okay. Down there, okay, so you're happy. All right, finally, we can now query we can now run the query. The query function we created earlier, and print out the results. Okay, so we're going to do, now here's where, because we have an option, so it's a result and then an option inside of it. So this is gonna be fun, and I think I want to do a match here. So we're gonna do a match on get pet. Did I call this get by ID? I did. I want to change that. So in pets queries, I'm going to change this to be get pet by ID, because the other one I think I called, yeah, get all pets. So get pet by ID. Let's be consistent, which means we need to come back to here. Get by ID. There's no rename you. Okay, so let's copy you. Let's get you, and I want to say select everything that's get by ID and change you to get pet by ID. Okay, that's good. All right, excellent. Get pet by ID. We hand it that data. Oh, we have to connect to the database. Oh, and I could just connect right here. This will be fine. So let our DB connection equals, do I have like a connect? Connect to diesel DB, and then, oh, you need the database URL. We need the .env thing. .env, okay. So I want to hand you in there. Let our database URL equals standard it's env var, and your, let's see, what database URL, I think. Database URL, expect error missing database URL environment variable. Okay, so and let's also give the database connection here. So database connection equals, actually, don't I have that? It's like, maybe we just call this DB. So DB equals mute connect to DB, database URL, expect error connecting to database. Okay, so I want to add this in as well. All right, so where was this? This was at the very beginning of our project, or something here. So pet queries looks like now. Okay, so let's create a new binary command, set up a new function, add request and ID from the user to the and connect to the database. It's there. All right, good. We're good to go. Okay, so next up, we have you. Don't need you anymore because we have our database connection. So match get pet by ID. You take in the database connection, so that's our DB, and then the ID, which is the pet ID. We're matching you. So we have, so this is where it's gonna be fun. So we have a result, right? So we have okay, and then we have some, and then we're gonna have our pet. And so I probably want to just do let our pet equals to this, and then we'll just return our pet through. If we have an okay and a none, I want to do two things. We're just going to print line and just say no pet matching the matching that ID was found. And then we return. And then finally, one last one is an error. And we're going to do a ePrint line error getting pet from the database. And we're going to print the error and return. Okay. And finally, we can print line. Did I ever set print line up for this? Print line, we have just, I did not. Okay, fine. So we'll just do this ourselves. We'll say, what do we care about pets? So we have ID, so what am I doing right now for this? If I do a cargo run, find show pets. Okay, so we're going to just follow the same pattern here. So we'll have name. So we have name, the ID, last fed, and then that's going to be that. Okay. So, okay, name. So that's going to be pet.name, pet.id, pet.lastFed, and then you need to be a debug. Okay, and that should work. Let's test it out. We know that Zilby is a 1, so let's show Zilby off here. Actually, Zilby, oh, it's 1 right here. This is the species ID, isn't it? Okay, hold on. I want ID like that. So this is pet.id, pet.name. So then this one is pet.species ID. All right, so cargo run bin, what is it? Get pet by ID. What pet would you like to see? Get the pet's ID. 1. Error. Pet's IDs must be a number. Ooh, there's a new line on that. There's a new line on that. We have to trim it before the parse. There we go. 1. Zilby 1, last fed, none. Okay, so adding the trim. So we have to do that next. So when we parse, okay, we need to convert this into an I32 before we call our query. Don't forget to trim the input since we have a new line. A new line character in it. So before the parse, it's not that. I think I can just, yeah, paste like that. We're good. Okay, so now we can finally run the query function. So we cause that. Wait a second. Yeah, now we run that. So here we go. You. And we print you out. Oh, that. Okay, there it goes. I was wondering, like, why does sometimes it like not does that when I have it all the way at the bottom here and I did that backwards, it deleted it, like removed my selection of this last line, which that felt a little bit weird, but I guess it makes sense too. But okay, we're good to go. All right, so notice that we're handling the handling all the possible return types, value states from the query in a single match statement. This allows us to print a nice message to the user if there isn't a pet found. Otherwise, handle the error. Okay, so we've got you. Let's run this command and see its output. Okay, so we do you cargo run bin get pet by ID. You see 1 zilby 1 last fed none. you. All right, so cargo run, everything. Okay, in this case, everything is here all in one line correctly. So that's good. And then I just want to delete you. We see you. That's excellent. Here is the full get. What was it? It was get pet by ID file. Okay, and there we go. Now that's happy. Now before I test this, yeah, no errors, no warnings. Perfect. That's what we want to see. So there we go. On your own, implement the same get by ID for the species. Okay. So that's good. Let's go ahead and let's go switch over and do that ourselves. So I want to touch, let's see, what was it? It was source bin. So get pet by ID. So I want get species by ID, .s. Can I actually like have it do that for me? Oh, I can't. Okay. So function main like that. Okay. So first things off, we want to connect to the database. So we'll do our .env, convert that. Just say, hey, we're okay regardless. We will let our database URL. I want env module. No, wrong thing. env module var database URL. Expect error missing database URL environment variable. Okay, so we've got that. I guess we'll just connect the database. Database URL. And we'll expect this too. So error connecting to database. Okay, so there we go. You've got you. After our connection to the database, I want to get the user information. So print line, enter. So please, or like what, or enter in the name. What did I put for the other one? What pet would you like to? Okay, so what species would you like to see? Please enter the species ID. Okay, so we put you in there, and then we'll have our let mute input ID is equal to a string new. We will have our standard in. Read line. Our input ID, and then I could probably just expect you. So expect error reading input from ID or reading input from user. Okay. Then let's see what else. We've now got the input ID. I need to convert it. So let our ID species ID is equal to input ID. We're going to trim it. We're going to parse it into an I32. And this one we should handle. So let's match that. Okay, we have our ID. You become the ID like that. We have an error. And for this error, we have, come on, bracket, ePrintLine. ePrintLine, we want to print out there was, oh, this is the number. So species IDs must be a number. Please try again with a number for the ID. Okay. And then we return. Okay, so now we have our species ID. I want to get the species itself so that, oh, and then we can match this, right? So like this is gonna be the species. We're gonna match, get, oh, we need to write the query, don't we? Yeah, that would kind of help, wouldn't it? So species queries. All right, so pub function get species by D. We have our DB. We have the ID, which is an I32. Result option species. Okay, we don't have that user, so we just want to go from the table, right? So species from schema species. What is it, like table dot find? Yeah, find. We have the ID. I want to just get the first. Optional. Context. Loading species by ID. Why can't you find that? What did I do wrong? Here in our queries, pets table find first optional. Yeah. Oh, the prelude. It's the prelude. I didn't do that in the right file. Okay, so use diesel prelude start. Okay, that handled some of that. First is still missing. Why are you missing? Yeah, find first. Let's see, it was pets table find first. So pets, oh, DB. Oops. Yeah, how silly. Silly, it would have told me if I had just handed it, looked at the error message, but I mean, who does that? Okay, so get species ID, we get you. Okay, so that's good to go. We can now get species by ID. It's a match. Get species by ID. We pass it the DB and the species ID. We match you. Okay, so we're gonna have an OK some species, and we return that through. We're gonna have an OK none, and we're going to print line no species with that ID exists in the database. Then we'll return, and we finally have an error. And we'll do an ePrint line. There was an error getting the species species by ID from the database. And another return. Okay, so that should then quit out of here. So now we have our species, and we just want a print line, and we'll just say it was what? It was the ID of the species. Actually, I'm just really curious. Let's do a cargo run show species with the bind. Can't forget that. Yeah, okay, so it's just the ID and then the name. So we have species.id, species.name. Okay. We have, oh, I don't need the prelude in here. That's fine. And I have what? Oh, this error isn't being used. That's fine. No more errors. We're good to go. So let's now do cargo run bind. What did I call this? Get species by ID. What species would you like to see? Please enter the species ID. Well, cat, obviously. So I put in there 1 cat. Excellent. And of course, I didn't test this with the other one. We should probably test it. If I put in like 99, no species with ID, and let's also do show get pet by ID, and if I put 99, no pet matching ID was found. Okay, perfect. So that's good. Let's I think that's this lesson. So we can now mark this lesson as done. So read 1 is done. All right, so over here, I want to close all the buffers. Okay, so what did we do? We added code for get by ID lesson. I mean, it's get 1 lesson really, but good enough. Then over here, status, we add commit. We have created lesson for get 1. Okay, and then printing the SQL for debugging. So let's go ahead and get this going. So print out the SQL that Diesel creates. So okay, so problem, do all this stuff, 1 potential. Oh, we didn't read through the other one. We need to do that. Let's print out the query that is being called. So we'll do this first, then we'll read this one, then we'll read the other one. Let's print out the query that is being called by the show by the get pet by ID function. We can't put the debug query into the binary itself. Okay, so I think that's fine. A consideration is that we can only run the debug query function on a query. In this file, we use the load method. So in this function, Sitsu, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you next time. In this function, we use the load method to, so actually that's not true. So this function, we use the first method to execute the query and get the result back. After that, it's too late to debug the query itself since it has been consumed. So we'll need to break the query out into its own variable, print debug it, then load the query and return the result. So I want to, this one does all that stuff. So let's just change you. Over here, let us do the pet queries. So actually, I don't want to do this one anymore here. Well, I mean, I want to select, drop you, get rid of you. Add a dot. That. Okay, whatever. Why are you upset? Result, context. Why are you upset? Mismatch types expected, enum result, found nothing at all. Oh, because of let. There's a let binding. Yeah, that would. Oh, like that. There we go. There we go. Now you're happy. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to have let pet equals, we pets table find like this, and then we semicolon. Now after here, we're going to do pet and let that finish. And then we're going to print line. So this will be pet query. I'd like to do a little new line here. And then we're going to say pet, no, debug query. Debug query reference to pet. I think that's going to be it. Oh, I need to tell it where to go. Like that. Then maybe like an extra new line for good measure. What are you? Oh, type annotations. Forgot about that. So this is PG. And who cares? All right. So now if we run this, no problems. This is going to be a cargo run get pet by ID. So what pet would you like to see? Enter the pet's ID. So if we do 1, we now can see what this looks like. Excellent. Let's go back to here. Right. So get pet by ID now looks like this. When we run the get pet by ID binary, we should get the print statement as well as the list of all pets. So we should get the print statement as well as the pet. Okay, so let's just redo you really quickly. And so you are starting from up here, I think. Okay, so get pet by ID, compile it. Okay, what pet would we like to see? Enter the pet's ID. 1, pets query, select pets.id, pets.name, pets.species ID, pets.lastfed from pets where pets.id equals $1 with binds of 1. So it actually doesn't show the binding happening, but when it runs, this will be in there. We get that, and then there we go. Excellent. Okay, so this generated a pretty standard SQL query. The things of note are that the variable is not the variable $1 is not included in the query directly. Diesel parameterizes. Oh, there's no way I spelled that correctly. Diesel parameterizes the query, the queries before sending over to the database to prevent SQL injection attacks. We can see what the value of $1 is, though, in the binds 1 comment added at the end. Added at the end. Added at the end of the query. Okay, we can copy and paste this, but fill out the $1 because yeah, this, if I just take this and I run it as is, in where I'm in lessons. Okay, so over here, if I just throw this in here like that, it's going to say, hey, there's no parameter $1. So I need to like add that in there. Now there is there a bind thing? I don't think there is like a bind, right? That'd be really cool if there was a bind, but I'm pretty sure there is no little bindy thing that we can do. Okay, so we can copy paste this, but fill out the $1 with the value from the binds comment to fill out the run comment. So then we have I guess this is SQL. And we can come up here and see, oh, I have to do this. So I don't even need to put in the binds in here. So maybe it'll be better if I just show that like this. So you are like that. Okay, so select pets, select all this stuff where ID equals 1, and then we get you. This is how we can verify that the SQL we expect to be generated is being generated. If the SQL doesn't run in Postgres, then we're not using Diesel correctly, and that is where the bug is. If the SQL executes just fine, then the bug is somewhere else. And you can be confident that it is not in, I guess I'll just in somewhere else. That's fine. Then a bug is somewhere else. There we go. And I think that's it for debug diesel. Okay, so let's go to diesel, get one, and reread this all because we didn't do that before. All right, so get one row from database with diesel. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to create a query to get one item from the database with diesel. Previously, we were able to get all of the pets from the database and display them to the screen, but it can be useful to also get just one item from the database. Most one time using the ID of the item. Most often will, this needs to be rewritten. So most often we'll be getting items, we're getting rows using the ID of the item. There, I think that works. In the context of the pet store, someone might click on a link to a list of pet names, and they want all of the information about that one pet, and just that one pet. They would have the ID at that point, so all we need to do is create a query that can retrieve one pet via this ID. Let's create a new query in the pets queries file to get one pet by ID. So get pet by ID, and we set the, Notice that we're adding an option. We're adding in an option. I don't think we need an in. We're returning an option pet inside of the result instead of just returning the pet. That's because it's possible that the provided ID doesn't match anything in the database. We don't want to throw an error if we can't get a pet by the given ID, since that isn't normal behavior. The option helps us ensure that all possible return scenarios are covered. The query itself is slightly different than the get all because we start from the pet schema instead of the pets in the DSL. So we need to add this to the use statement at the top of the module. Then we can write our query. I think that should just be a sentence. We begin with the pets module to get the table, then run the find method on it. This method is a special method that takes in the value of a primary key, or the primary key. In this case, an ID like 1, 2, 3, etc. And will search for all rows that match that. Since the primary key has to be unique, this is guaranteed, still not sure, to be 1 or 0 items in the database. Normally when we run a load function, we get a vector of results back. However, since we know we can only get 1 at most back, we can run the first method. Of course, this tries to return the type and can't handle a null from the database unless we add the optional method to the chain. Then we can handle the error with the context and return the final result. This is what the pets queries now looks like. Let's create a new binary command to get a pet by ID. So touch that. Set up a new main function and request an ID from the user using the standard and readline method and connect to the database. Okay, so we do that. The input ID is a string at this point, but IDs in our databases are I32, so we need to convert this ID into an I32 before we can call our query. Don't forget to trim the input since we have a new line character in it. Finally, we can now run the query function we created earlier and print out the results. Notice that we're handling all the possible return states from the query in a single match statement. This allows us to print a nice message to the user if there isn't a pet found. Otherwise, handle the error. Let's run this command and see its output. Here's the full getPetById rs file. Now practice this on your own by implementing the same get by ID for the species. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So, excuse me. Let's see, that's that one. Let's go into the print debugs for debugging thing. Debug Diesel by printing the generated SQL. Objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to print out the SQL that Diesel creates. Debugging Diesel. A problem that is common with all ORMs, regardless of language, is that it can become a bit difficult to debug. For example, if we are trying to do a select query, but for some reason we're getting an error, we have to figure out where the error is. One potential technique is to eliminate entire sections of the project where the error isn't. For example, if the query that is running on the database is correct. However, we're working with REST code and not SQL directly, which means we need to see what the generated SQL looks like. We can do this with the debug query function. Let's print out the query that is being called by the getPetById function. A consideration is that we can only run the debug query function on a query. In this function, we use the first method to execute the query and get the result back. After that, it's too late to debug the query itself since it has been consumed. So we'll need to break the query out into its own variable, print debug it, then load the query and return the result. When we run the getPetById binary, we should get the print statement as well as the pet. There we go. This generated a pretty standard SQL query. The things of note, so maybe of note here. Of note here are that the variable $1 is not included in the query directly. Directly. Diesel parameterizes the queries before sending over to the database to prevent SQL injection attacks. We can see what the value of $1 is in the -- binds comment added at the end of the query. We can copy and paste this, but fill out the $1 with the value from the binds comment. This is how we can verify that the SQL we expect to be generated is being generated. If the SQL doesn't run in Postgres, then we're not using Diesel correctly, and that is where the bug is. If the SQL executes just fine, then the bug is somewhere else. There we go. Okay, so now we can head to the README and mark that you're done. Okay. And it requires a value, or wait, yeah, am requires a value. What should this be? We want, I guess like finished lessons for read one and print and debug SQL. Okay, you get pushed up and git commit lesson. So see, added query debug for debug lesson, and push that up. Okay, there we go. So next time we'll work on create insert. And then potentially that too. Create one from table with composite primary key. I mean, wouldn't that be here? Because that's not a create one type thing. This is more of like, yeah, just a special one. If we have a composite primary key, I would probably just create a special one-off project to deal with that. Stacking. Hello, how are you doing today? You remember we had a project where we logged every single query statement, but the team didn't realize how slow writing to disk was. That was a nightmare to, oh, every single one? Oh man, that's too much. That is too much. I guess like in the small, tiny project, that's okay. But yeah, like if you have any real projects, you end up getting lots and lots and lots of queries. Like I would rather a team just like force this, where it's like let pets first, and then leave this as commented out like that, and then that way they you could just come in and recomment that back in. I wouldn't even put that behind a feature flag, because yeah, it's just too much. It's just like too many queries. I understand why they did it, but they didn't have enough knowledge to know why it was bad. Yeah, so I guess another thing that you could do. So there's some logging tools out there. So if you ever use New Relic or Sentry or any of those type systems, or like even a professional debugging, like not debugging, like a logging service that sends out logs, generally what you do is you send your logs to a struct of some kind, and it holds it until there's downtime, like in another thread, and then it runs them all later, so that the actual prints don't happen when the like everything is really busy. It like schedules them to run when maybe like the CPU is low or not really much else is happening, and then it runs all this stuff. So it's that pretty cool logic the way that works, and kind of important if you have a busy server. Also, if you're doing HTTP statements to log out as opposed to just writing to disk, that's a different thing altogether too. But again, you don't want to send a bunch of stuff out if you're like busy. So yeah, things to be aware of if you're ever writing like real like libraries. Yeah, I could imagine that would be a nightmare to debug. I mean, if you have a very few things, I guess you could just do like a million features, but doesn't Rust now yell at you if you use too many features? They also didn't know writing to console was a thread lock every single time. Oh, they did. Oh, they didn't put it into its own thread. Oh yeah, yeah. For those of you who have never run into this before, try the way to experiment with this, and it doesn't matter what language you're using. It's Python, JavaScript, Rust, TypeScript, Java, Go. It doesn't matter what it is. Writing like IO writing to disk is always a very, very, very slow thing. And so this is one of the reasons that it's always recommended do not leave debug statements in your production code unless like you really need to have them in there. Just don't do it, because it slows things down, and it won't slow on your system if you don't have very many things running. But as soon as you have a lot of stuff in there, it's noticeable. Like just try like writing like a loop and seeing how slow the loop runs when it's debug out, and see how much faster it is if you don't have the debug statements. It's pretty insane. All right. It is after 12 o'clock today, so I am done for today for the stream. Tomorrow is going to be the last stream of the week. There's only 2 streams this week. I have to drop my car off at the maintenance beforehand, so that's about an hour and a half before the stream starts. So hopefully that will all be quick. I'll be back here and we'll start on time, but there's a chance that I might be a little bit late. If it is, I'll just put into the Discord that I'm running a few minutes late and when I hope to expect to be, online. But we'll be continuing on with this project and working on, I think we'll do maybe like a one-off playground thing for get one from table with composite primary key. With that, I hope that you all have a great rest of your Mondays, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.